In this lesson, we're going to go from shopping to search. Because with the remarketing campaigns, what we do is we reach the same audience than we've reached before yet. These are people that have been to the website. So we might convert more of those people, but we're not actually reaching new people. By running Google search ads, we actually are able to reach new audiences. So let's rewind to the first lesson of this course. Why did I tell you to start with shopping? Well, once you get past the setup, and this might have been a real headache for you, but afterwards it requires less maintenance. So once optimized, you can leave it running without too much work. It's also bringing you more relevant traffic right off the bat. With Google search ads, there are mistakes that you can make which will result in you losing a lot of money and you getting a lot of completely irrelevant traffic to your site. So we saw that Google doesn't always bring the best traffic to your site, and that's why we need to optimize our campaigns a little bit better. But with shopping, they actually do a pretty good job of it. And then third, the learning curve is less steep for Google shopping. So you might be sitting here behind your computer thinking, what? Learning curve less steep? I thought this was pretty hard. Well, Google search has a lot more moving parts. So it can be a lot more challenging and overwhelming, especially at the beginning. Are you ready to move beyond shopping? Well, I'll tell you if you are. Do you have profitable shopping campaigns? Meaning that you've started your shopping campaigns, you've used the lessons to optimize the campaigns, and now they're bringing in money. Or have you maxed out your budget? So it doesn't mean that you're at the max of your budget, but it might mean that you can't raise your CPCs anymore, because actually that will cause your campaigns to go out of profit. So maybe you've narrowed it down for one campaign that's really profitable, or you've tested out your whole catalog and your whole catalog is profitable, whatever worked for you. Or you found that shopping visitors simply don't convert, meaning that you started your campaigns, you've tried all the lessons in this course, but you weren't able to make it work. Then shopping probably isn't the right channel for you. So you could look to search to see if there are search queries where you can actually make the difference. So my goal with this lesson is not to make you the foremost expert on Google search ads. In fact, to do this well, it probably will require another whole separate course. But my goal here is to use all of the things that you've learned and all the insights that you got from running your shopping campaigns, and to see how you can start with search ads in the best way, building on that knowledge. And I'll also introduce in this lesson all the differences and the new topics, differences in structure, the ads and the match types. So you're able to better take advantage of the knowledge that you've built. So when I say insights from shopping, what do I mean? First, there's the search terms data. You've been running your campaigns for a while and you've gotten a lot of clicks. That also means that your search terms report is actually well filled with all kinds of queries. And you actually know the campaign performance of those queries. So not only do you know what people are looking for related to your product, but you actually know which keywords perform well and which don't. So why is this data so important? Well, Google search ads relies on solid keyword research. One of the hardest things to do when setting up new campaigns is to do this keyword research well, because you're going to be wanting to find all of the queries that are relevant and also find the ones that are actually valuable. And here, by running these campaigns, you have both data. You know the exact search queries that people were using, and you know which ones are profitable or to give you clients. And you also know the type of queries people are looking for. Are they looking for generic, branded, or product searches? Are they using long or short tail keywords? Are there some informational queries that you can use? So you have a good idea on the variety of keywords. And I do want to tell you that it's not always one-on-one. And what I mean by that is the queries that work in Google Shopping don't always work well in Google Search. That's because there are actually two different products, search and shopping, and some queries might work really well in the visual format where people actually click on products, and search might work better in different circumstances. So you have to test this yourself. But already knowing that something works well in Google Shopping, it's a lot more valuable to start with. And those search terms reports probably also give you a lot of ideas for negative keywords. So you might already have several negative keyword lists, which you can just reuse for your Google search campaigns. And it's budget that you can save, so you won't have to make the same mistakes again. So I'm saying that you should start with your best keywords. How do you know what your best keywords are? It's pretty simple. You start out with the search queries that you have a great or acceptable ROAS on. Return on ad spend, this last one is. Then you go for the ones that have an okay return. Then you get search queries that have had some sales, and then you have all others. So start with the best performing ones and then branch out as you go. Now we're going to get more into the details of the shopping campaigns. What are the main differences with shopping? First, in account structure. In Google Shopping, we had to do a lot of complicated things by setting up multiple campaigns with the same products, custom labels, campaign priority, do all sorts of tricks, and it's a little bit more straightforward in Google search campaigns. Second is, now we're going to have to care about the ads. Before, Google did most of the heavy lifting. They took the product image, they took the product title, the price, and that was the ad. Now we're actually going to have to come up with ads that are good and will convince people to buy from us. Third is the keywords. We also didn't have to worry about keywords. We did set up some structure to make sure that we were showing up for the right queries, but here we can actually more easily target specific search queries. So in that sense, it's pretty different. There also are ad extensions, and these expand the real estate that a search ad gets. Okay, so let's start by talking about account structure. So you also have multiple campaigns running for your search ads. You'll probably have one running for your brand name of your store. You'll probably have one for branded queries and one for non-branded queries. Maybe have several different campaigns based on the category of the keywords that you're running in. But it's pretty simple, like on the outside. Like it looks very similar to your actual shopping campaigns, but actually on the inside, it's a lot more easy. If you want to make a branded campaign, well, you just fill it with branded keywords. Well, with shopping, we had to do all sorts of tricks to separate it from one another. Second is that the ad groups are really key in Google search ads campaigns. So in Google Shopping, they're also important, but they're a bit further down the line to get a bit more specific with your campaigns. Here, ad groups are key, and that's because every ad group has a group of closely related keywords. And why do they need to be so related? Well, you create one or more ads for each ad group. So to make sure that this ad really can represent all of the searches for those keywords, they need to resemble each other. Otherwise, you will have to create a different ad group. Or some people also like to have big ad groups with a lot of keywords, but that usually doesn't work well for the click-through rate. Okay, talking about ads. Let's talk about ads more specifically. So a great ad captures the searcher's intent. And that is, you try to go in the head of the person behind the search and think, what is this person really searching for? And you try to reflect that in your ad. You also need to sell them. You need to convince them, because there will be 2, 3, 4 other ads of stores that are similar to yours. So how are you going to grab their attention? Third, you want to reuse keywords in the ads to make sure that the visitor thinks you do have what they're searching for. You can create different versions. As I said, you can create 2 or 3 different ads in each ad group, and then see which gets the best click-through rate to find out like which of your ads or which of your phrasing works better. And as I said, all of those things before, they are focused on improving the click-through rate, because the click-through rate is one of the most important things in search ads. And that's because it reflects very well of if what a person is searching for is actually relevant to your ad. So you want to make sure that it is very relevant. And then lastly, something that we didn't have to think about with shopping ads are the landing pages. So before, all the visitors were sent to the actual product pages, and here we're going to have to make a decision, probably for each ad group, on where we're going to send people. Are we going to send them to a specific category page or a product page or even the home page? It depends how well these different pages are structured, and you're probably going to have to test which pages perform best, because you want to make sure that you take somebody that has clicked on an ad to the most relevant page possible. With the ads covered, I want to talk about keywords. And something that is new here, kind of touched on it when we're talking about the negative keywords, but these are the match types. So there's 4 different match types in AdWords: broad, modified broad, phrase, or exact match. And these are extra parameters that you add to your keyword, where you tell Google on how specific they have to match the keyword to the actual search query, or how much leeway you give Google. And this is really where a lot of the times things go wrong, because people, by default, Google uses this broad match, which is the most, which will match your keywords with the widest variety of search terms, which is not really what most advertisers are looking for. And so this is the part that most often goes wrong. So don't remember if it's a little bit overwhelming. I will show you later all of the different parts and all of these different match types. Second difference in keywords with Google Shopping campaigns is that here you can see the quality score. So each keyword has a specific quality score. So you can actually see the different parts that make up the quality score, and also will tell you like how you are performing. Are you performing on average, above average, below average? So you kind of know what to fix. And then lastly, here you can set a specific max CPC per keyword. And this might sound really refreshing compared to the multiple campaign setup where you're using negative keywords to filter certain things from one shopping campaign or to target them with the other. Here it's very straightforward. You set a campaign, you set a specific keyword, and then you set a max CPC for that keyword. And that's it. It doesn't get more easy than that. So now let's talk about ad extensions. Ad extensions is basically things you can add to your advertisements to have extra real estate in the Google search results. These are links, text, star ratings, phone numbers, etc. And they're actually very similar to like seller ratings or merchant promotions. You kind of have to supply the data to Google, and then Google decides whether or not they will add them or which ones they will add them. And they always improve the click-through rate. So I always urge clients or students to add these things to their accounts to make sure that if Google decides to run it, that you have it, because it makes the ad experience a little bit better. Okay, that's a lot of information. Let's break it down to really your action plan. So if you've got Google Shopping campaigns running and you're looking to branch out to Google Search, here's what I want you to do. I want you to start with a small set of keywords. Look through your search terms reports, look through which brands are converting and which deliver you a good ROAS. Because if you have a good return already, you have a little bit more margin to experiment with, because you're gonna start something new here. So remember that it might take a while for you to actually get this to work as well. A little disclaimer. And then I want you to monitor the search terms report closely. So especially if you put some budget next to it, look through it daily, maybe weekly if you don't have a lot of time, but don't forget about this. This is the same than Google Shopping campaigns. In the beginning, you have to watch it closely to make sure it runs well. Then if you see interesting new keywords, you can add them to existing ad groups, or you can create new ad groups from those keywords if they are a little bit different than the groups that you had before. And you can also use them to add new keywords to your negative keyword lists. So remember that in Google Shopping we created these lists. Well, you can use them or reuse them for your Google search campaigns as well. And the great thing is that if you've been running your shopping campaigns for a while, they will actually be pretty well built out. So you will have a lot of negative keywords to block irrelevant searches from your campaigns. Now you have the condensed version of how to run Google search ad campaigns. But I'm gonna take you through setting up a new campaign, and then we're gonna look at a campaign that's been running for a while, just to show you a little bit more of the actual practicalities of setting up a campaign. So here, click on campaign, new campaign, and we're gonna click on search. Again, no campaign goal, not gonna do any of those. Continue. And then here is where it already gets interesting. So I'm gonna do a search campaign, and I'm gonna target the US. That's what I'm gonna do. Here it already gets interesting, because here is already where you could potentially lose a lot of money. It asks you which networks do you want to join. And remember that I showed you that you were gonna target the search network with search ads. So it's obvious to leave this one checked, right? Actually not. What this one does is it actually shows your ad on partner websites. So these are kind of sites that partner with Google for their search, and where their search ads can appear. So this can be sometimes good to expand your campaigns, but not when you're starting out. Here they give a warning that most advertisers will use this in their ads, but that's actually because most advertisers don't know about it. The second one, and this is really the most shitty part of Google Ads, one of the most shitty parts, and this is to include the Google Display Network. So the intent that most people have with these campaigns, this is going to be a little bit of a rant, I'm sorry, but this one really frustrates me, because most people want to show their ads in the Google search results. So by default, checking this box actually will enable your campaigns to be shown on the display network. So remember, that's the network of third-party websites, of game websites, of apps, or different kind of things, of YouTube. And your ads will be shown there as well. But actually, that's not what you meant to target. If you want to show your ads on these things, you'll create a separate campaign with specific ads targeting these places. So we have to uncheck this for good results. Okay, dig through the settings. Okay, here you can select the country. Let me target the United States again, just to stay consistent in my examples. So as you can see here, I can do target, exclude, nearby. Just have a look at these different options that you have. I always put it to this one: people in your targeted locations, people in your excluded locations. Otherwise, it's gonna target people that Google thinks are in the US. It often goes wrong, so that's why I put it at these two options. Audiences. We don't really want to add specific audiences. We could later do like the RLSA, but for now, let me keep it simple. Budget, put a budget of 10 euros. Conversions, what do you want to focus on? Again, I don't want to focus on conversions. For now, I want to focus on clicks. That's it. So by default, you will see, based on the selections, this campaign type will use the maximize clicks bid strategy. So again, that's pretty shitty to use the maximize clicks, because that's a bad strategy, as we saw from our previous campaigns. So we have to click and turn this into a manual CPC campaigns. So you get a warning, help to increase conversions, blah, blah, blah. Don't trust it, keep it at manual CPC. So by now, you will see that it's a pretty common trend from Google to hide important stuff behind drop-down lists. So let's check. Okay, schedule, rotation, we keep it as it is. As you can see here, the ad extensions, we can already add ad extensions, but I'm not going to do it yet. Okay, save and continue. Okay, here, the ad group. So remember here, we're still selling posters. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a different category. I'm gonna create a different ad group for every category of posters that I sell. So here, for example, moon posters will be one ad group. The default bid will be 20 cents. Okay, and then I have to paste my keywords here. So the most intuitive thing would be to just type my keywords here. Moon posters, I will say Apollo 11 maybe. Posters, moon landing posters. And you would think that this actually will this actually will show relevant searches. And it will, but if I don't put any extra parameters or extra characters with these keywords, Google will find all kind of synonyms, variants, misspellings for these things, and will really broaden it up. So for example, something like moon landing posters, it will actually match with a search query for example, pictures of the moon landing. Which is not really, I don't want to pay for people searching for pictures of the moon landing or Neil Armstrong on the moon or something. I don't want to pay for that. I want people that are looking for something with posters. So something you can do is, as you can see below here, there's a little bit of a legend on how to use this. You can do phrase match, which means putting it between quotations. And that will look for this phrase. So if this phrase is in a search, it will show this ad will show. If I do here, so if somebody's looking, for example, for vintage Apollo 11 posters, that will trigger this keyword. Another option is to put square brackets around the keyword. And what that does is, this means that only people searching for this exact phrase, moon landing posters, in this order, without keywords before or behind, they will see the ad that's related to this ad group. Something that I usually do at the start is I keep it like this, but I add a plus sign in front of each word. And what that does is, it's kind of the same than broad match, but it's called modified broad match. And it actually keeps Google a little bit more under control. So instead of randomly going out and finding all kind of unrelated searches that Google thinks are related, so something like pictures of the moon or something, they will search for more related queries. For example, prints of the moon. So prints and posters can be similar. So I usually use these pluses in front of my keywords. If you don't believe me, remove them and just let it run for a day, and then check your search terms report and then check which keywords you actually appear for. So here I'm gonna do moon posters, and that's the only one. Maybe moon landing posters as well. Moon landing posters. I'm gonna add another ad group. I'm gonna call this one, let's say Mars posters. Here I'm gonna do the same bit. I'm gonna do here Mars posters, okay? Then I'm gonna hit save and continue. Next step is to create a new ad for these specific ad groups. So here I'm gonna do a final URL. I need in space.co. So here I put the actual landing page. I say here epic moon poster. And then I have to add 2 headlines, and I can add a 3rd headline as well if I want. And then Google will actually test the different combinations to see what's possible. So I'm gonna add 2 headlines for now. Space. Beautiful. Okay, so I've put here you can see a little bit of a preview of how it looks on mobile and on desktop. I just need to add another description. Pick your favorite from 200 plus posters orders. Orders. Okay. Okay, that's how it looks. You can create another path. You can do moon. This doesn't. So what this does is you can actually specify the URL that people see in your ad without it actually being a page. So here I can do moon posters. So imagine this. This looks pretty much like I've created an ad specifically for or a page specifically for this ad. Sometimes, like here, I do have a landing page that's specific to this ad, but sometimes you don't have these. So let's say somebody's looking for giant moon posters. I could add here giant. I could do or blue moon posters maybe, or red moon posters, like this, red moon posters. Something like that. It doesn't look great, but you could play around with it to actually increase the likelihood of people clicking on it. So let's say you're looking for a picture of a red moon or a poster of a red moon. This would be pretty helpful. So that way you can actually create a lot more landing pages than you have. Yeah, that's it. I click done. Hit save. So here we have one for epic moon posters. Let's click here for Mars posters. Again, let's find the correct URL. Mars posters. Copy paste this one. Okay. Okay, now I want to show you a little bit of a trick. So if you have a headline, the first headline that matches your search query completely, it will actually help to create a lot better, to have a better click-through rate. So remember that I've told you that you have to have a compelling ad that also sells well. And that sometimes creates a lot of pressure on people to actually go really creative with these ads. But the thing is that you don't have to be super creative for them to work well. You can keep them pretty dry and just tell them as it is, tell it as it is. So if you sell Mars posters, you say great Mars posters, and then you add another USP of your store. So pick from 200 Mars posters, and then you say ships out immediately, or you can add different things to your ad that might seem a bit boring, but it doesn't hurt your ads if they're really transactional and really transparent in showing people that, yeah, I've got what you're looking for, and here's how to get it. That's a long way around showing you a trick that there is in AdWords. It's not something that I've come up with myself. So if you press the accolades, it will actually give you a couple of options. So I'm going to do keyword insertion, and the default text is Mars posters, sentence case, title case, okay. Okay, and I'm going to hit apply. So what this will do is it will actually take the search query of the user and it will put it in the title, in title case. And if the search query is longer or Google doesn't want to match it, they'll just use the default Mars posters. So what this will do is if somebody searches for something, they will always see their exact search query here, which works great for the click-through rate. Do free fast shipping. These are not my ads. I'll show you my ads in a bit, but it's just to get through this setup process. So you can see here again, Mars posters, great deals on Mars posters, shop now. You can also add, as I show you here, like a call to action. Then hit done, hit save. So you can see here I have two ad groups with two ads. Again, a little overview. Hit continue. And there you go, search US. This is the thing we just created, the campaign we just created. I've shown you how to set up a new campaign. Let's look at an existing campaign. So here we're going to look at the search generic US. I'm going to go all time because that has more data into it. You can see it had a big peak here, but now it's been pretty quiet. So if you see here, these are the ones in gray are paused, and the ones with the little green thing, they are enabled ad groups. You can see here the max CPC, it's set on ad group level, so you can choose to set a CPC on ad group level or on keyword level. If you set one on keyword level, it will override the settings that you have on the ad group level. So as you can see, a lot of the things are the same. You have clicks, you have impressions, click-through rate, search impression share, conversion value, you have all of the things. If we sort here on conversion value. So I've actually never gotten this campaign profitable because I was paying a lot more. Here you can see the average cost per click has been 50 or 49 cents, and that was way too high. So now it's only at 20, and you can see what that did to the volume. But I don't really mind. It's just bringing in, if it is enabled, it brings in cheap clicks. So now let's look at a couple of those ad groups. So here you can see moon posters. If we take a look, we have a couple of keywords. We have moon posters, and we have moon posters as phrase match. So you can see the click-through rate for these specific things. You can see here the search terms reports that I've had for these keywords. Immediately you see a lot of terms that should be added to the search terms report and have been added. So you can see here Sailor Moon, Moon Guardian, Love You to the Moon and Back. These are all irrelevant terms that I should cut. What happened here, let me give you an example of keywords of how I have split up actual campaigns. So I had here a thing called SpaceX posters, and all of a sudden this search query, actually I knew about it, but this search query started showing up, SpaceX Starman posters. So this keyword was also captured by this one. But looking through the search terms report, it suddenly started showing up. See here, a SpaceX Starman poster. And I saw that I had a pretty good click-through rate, but then if I actually looked at the ad that I was running, SpaceX posters, all launches and landings, find your favorite poster, free shipping, that was my ad. And I wasn't really talking about the searches people were looking for that Starman. So what I did is I created actually a specific ad group for that. Split out the keywords, SpaceX Starman poster, put it there, and then create an ad specifically for these searches. And I was able to decrease my cost per click because I had specific ads running for these search queries. Yeah, so this is the dynamic you'll go through. So you start out with broader search terms, like here, like SpaceX posters. You look through the search terms reports, and then if you see that more specific searches are popping up, for example, I had one on moon posters, and then searches started popping up for moon landing. So now I've created a special section for moon landing, and I don't have an exact landing page for moon landing posters. So they actually just go to the Apollo 11 posters, which is the same thing, but it just means people use the phrases differently. So as you can see here, I have a couple of ads running. I don't have enough clicks to really have a conclusive result on which ad works best. But this is the way you would go about approaching your campaigns. Besides the ads, there's also here the extensions. Let me open that for Moon. And the extensions, as I said, there are extra things you add to your campaigns. And here, for example, are site links. And site links are extra links that you add to your campaigns. So let me show you how that looks. No, maybe if you start a new one. Yeah. So you see here, this is how it would look. If you add a new site link, here would be the ad, and here would actually be the site links. So these are all things that you have to define. You have to set a text, 2 description lines, and a URL, and then have to add it to your campaign or to your ad group. So these are great to really extend your range. So for here, for example, I'm showing up for moon posters, but sometimes there's like links popping out for Apollo 8, Apollo 11, NASA posters. So it's all related kind of pages that are showing up, and that might be interesting for the person searching for this. Another one are call outs, and call outs are basically extra text that you have next to your campaigns. Okay, here call out, and you can see here that this call out use existing. So if I add these 3, you see here that it just adds these things to my behind the description: free shipping, payback card, or by PayPal, ultra high quality. So it adds these things, and people will often put their USPs there to just make it stand out. You can say great customer reviews, we've had over 1,000 happy customers, etc. Then you can also add structured snippets. So here I've added different types. This depends a bit on the products that you have, but let's say here, structured snippet extension, create new. And here I'm using the different types of posters that I sell, but there's a lot of different options. So you can go for the different brands, and then here, depending on what you do, you can always find an extension that works for you. And this again helps to, so let's say you're selling shoes and somebody's looking for running shoes, and there you put, I'm carrying a Nike, I'm carrying Adidas, I'm carrying Brooks, New Balance, and then people immediately see like, oh, they've got the offer, or they have what it takes. This is becoming one of the most popular extensions as well. So site links probably the most popular, callouts second, and then structured snippets probably the third. There are a couple of other ones that you might want to try, which are price extensions, call extensions, which add a phone number to the ads, and then promotion extensions, which show also special offers or discounts to your ads. And for example, in this one, like all the extensions, you can also set a beginning and end date. So you might, let's say you have a promotional period coming up where you have a weekend where you're doing 10% off. You could set that, let's say on Friday, and then it would go on Saturday morning and turn off Sunday night without you having to go into the actual campaigns. So that's it. That's a little bit of a whirlwind of how to set up Google search ads. So as I said, it's a very, very broad topic, and it will require a lot of learning again, and a lot of testing and trying out to see what works best. But I believe that I've given you now the keys on to not make a lot of mistakes and not lose a lot of money, and to also start making sales pretty much out of the gate if you do decide to run search ads.